today I'm going to be showing you some basic watercolour techniques. So these are some examples. So you see that I focused on blending just one or two colours together, trying to get the paint looking nice and even, as well as layering different colours in this one here, and working neatly and sharply to the edges as well. So I'm going to be using one of these sets of watercolours. So first I'm just going to show you how to go about working with these. So these are little blocks of colour. When you apply water to them, the colour generates within it, and then you can apply it to your work. I do this in a specific way where I generate a lot of paint within the colour and then apply that to my work using just water to blend it. So I'm going to show you that briefly. Just dip your brush into the paint and then brush the watercolour for just a little bit, and that will generate a good intense colour. You're getting a lot of the pigment into the paint, okay? And then with that on my brush, I'm just going to wipe it off slightly, and then I'm going to apply that to the dark section. So I'm going to go around the edge of the box. First of all, you can see there's plenty of pigment in that paint. So you're using just the tip of the brush. I'm holding the brush quite far down so I've got control, and then using the side of the brush to work across the rest of the box. What I will then do, I have some paint still on my brush. I will dip it slightly into the water, and I will do exactly the same for the medium tone. So you can see with a little bit more water added, it's going more smoothly onto the page. Then I will wash half of my brush out, just squeeze it on the side of the mug that I'm using, and exactly the same, go around the outside of the lines. So with these type of watercolour paints, the more water you add, the lighter the colour is going to be. If you want to generate a really lovely pigment, then you do need to brush the colour into there. If you just literally wet your brush and then touch on the colour like this, you're really not going to get a very strong pigment. But if you do brush in the colour for a little bit, that helps generate a much deeper and more vibrant colour like that. So if you're just going for a pale tone, you can just dip into the colour and that will help you. So blending, I'm just going to show you blending with one colour first of all. So using my blue again, I've already generated the paint in there. So I'm going to start with the darkest colour first, and I'm just going to add that darkest colour a little way down that box. I'm then going to wash my brush and just squeeze the water off on the side of the mug. And then I'm going to go about halfway back into the previous colour, and I'm going to start to move that paint downwards, okay? Just starting to move that paint downwards. Then wash my brush again, squeeze off the excess water, and repeat the process for that lighter tone. Now I'm pressing really lightly and softly with my brush, and I've got a really nice smooth blend there from one colour to the other. Now you can also do this through layering and doing different colours, so I'll just show you that. So I'm going to start with the dark blue because that's ready and prepared, and I will add that onto my page first of all. You could of course add it lighter, and then going to merge it into green. So I'm just going to brush in the green. Now this is slightly different, so you would add the green coming right up to the edge of the blue, and then wash your brush, squeeze off the extra water, and then go from the green, blending into the blue and back again. So I'm just using the side of the brush to blend into the green. I can then continue the green down. And then if I wanted to, I could dip briefly into the lighter green to blend into that. It's basically a process of adding one colour on and then layering the next one slightly, and then using your brush to blend it down. If you notice, I use the side of my brush for when I'm blending, but when I'm adding more detail, I hold my brush more like this. So I'm just going to show you how to add watercolour onto a logo. So this is one that I have drawn earlier, but what I'm going to do is the pencil lines on this are a little bit too strong. If I added watercolour onto a pencil line like this, it would just show through. So you can see that the pencil line is just showing through. So that's not going to be very good because it will look like we haven't paid attention to detail in our work. So what I'm going to do is just rub out my logo slightly so that I can just see a faint trace of the outline I drew, and that's going to help my work look neater and more refined. So what I'm going to do is use a similar technique that I did with this one. So I'm just going to do the background area, but I am going to try and add in a bit more blending than I did with this one. So exactly the same as before, generate your colour in the red first of all. Just squeeze off any excess paint just on the side, just there. Now you will want to rotate your logo as you're working. Don't just keep it the same because you will end up with watercolour on your hand. So just going around the edge. So I'm holding my brush slightly up, quite close to the edge there, the tip of the brush, and I'm just painting in small strokes, but keeping the edge nice and sharp first of all, okay? If I do go over a bit, I will just neaten that as I work. So I'm going to bring that out just a little bit, so a second row of paint there. I will then wash my brush. So just squeeze off any excess water, so you've just got a damp brush, and then you use the side of the brush just over and then blend it upwards, okay? It's really important that you're using the side of the brush to do that. So just go over the bit that you've just done and then bring it upwards. Try not to work over it too much because it will make the paper bobble unless you're using watercolour paper. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the rest of this. So I'm just going to go round now with the small brush to just refine any edges. So I'm checking really carefully, but just take the time to refine your work to make sure that it's nice and finished. If you have got any watermarks, you can just use a damp brush to go over those, and you should be able to just blend those in as well. And that is how you use the basic watercolour technique on a logo.